Hi everyone, and welcome to my live creative time today. My name's Mandy Witherby from Mandy's Papercraft Creations, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Sydney, Australia. So great to be here today. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for those who are joining live today and for those who are watching on the replay, both here on Facebook and also over on YouTube. If you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, feel free to do that if you like what you see here. And then if you click on the little bell icon while you're there, you'll get notifications when I upload new videos. So you'll never miss out on anything, which is a lot of fun. All right, so while everyone is joining us, I'm going to bring this up. Oh my goodness, I need to slow down today. Bring this up on my other devices so that I can see all of your comments there. Okay, so we've got that one happening, and let's do a reload of this page on my computer. There we go. Beautiful. Good. All right, now as you're jumping on, say hi, let me know that you're here. And if this is your first time watching, let me know where you're watching from. If you're watching the replay, feel free to leave me a comment. And if you are watching the replay, type in #replay, so then I know that you have caught the replay. So, and thank you so much for that. All right, so hey Brenton, how you going? Thank you so much for joining me this morning. It's great to have you here. How is the weather where you are today? We have a beautiful sunny day, which is lovely. We had rain a couple of days ago, but it's turned a corner and we've got beautiful sunny days again now. So that's always nice. I've got a beautiful project for you today. We are going to be playing with the Treasured Kindness stamp set. Have you seen this one in the annual catalogue? Easy to miss because it's a standalone stamp set, so it doesn't have a big suite or, you know, big feature on a page. Well, it does feature on a page, but yeah, so this is a really beautiful stamp set. And when I first saw this one, I thought, oh, I have to have this one because I used to actually grow bonsai trees. So I'll tell you a bit about that in a little bit, but really beautiful. So we're going to make a gorgeous card with that today and a couple of die sets as well. So we'll talk about that shortly. 27 degrees where you are, Brenton, and heading for a top of 30. Very nice, very nice. I think we are probably around about the same. I haven't actually checked the temperature today, but I know that we're going to be up in the 30s today. In fact, I think it might even be higher than that today. Yeah, I can't remember. I did, my husband, was it my husband or my daughter? Somebody told me last night, but yeah, too many things in my head at the moment to retain too much information. All right. So have you checked out the online exclusives yet in the online store? There are lots of beautiful products in there. So if you haven't seen it yet, check that out. When you go to the online store, there'll be a big banner that comes across the top that says online exclusives. You can click on that and it'll take you to the online exclusives. Or you can click on the menu, or as they call it, the hamburger menu. Do you know why they call it a hamburger menu? Because it's got 3 little lines and it kind of looks like a hamburger. Like bun on the top, bun on the bottom, and you're filling in the middle. That's kind of what the hamburger menu is. So if you click on that, that'll give you the drop down menu, and then you click on shop, I think it's shop all products, and then you'll see in the list there, you'll see online exclusives, so you can click on there. I just got a delivery today with one of the bundles from the online exclusives, which I haven't opened my box yet because it came when I was still in bed, and so it is sitting in the hallway waiting for me to open it after I finish my live today. So yeah, so we'll be playing with that new bundle in the coming weeks. So hopefully you'll be able to catch that one. Yeah, as I said, lots of beautiful new products in there. Now the online exclusive products are not going to feature in any catalogue. They will only be available in the online store. And also too, you'll see the kits in there as well. And that is because they are only available in the online store. They're not available in a catalogue. And they are the kits from the kits collection, which on the online store, you'll also see a separate area where you can find them if you just want to see kits. So definitely check them out. There's lots of beautiful new products. There's a couple of returning products too. We've got a couple of returning circle punches, which is awesome. Everyone is so excited about that. In fact, so we've got the 2-inch punch that has returned and the 1 3/4 inch punch that has returned. But the 1 3/4 inch punch is actually unavailable at the moment because it was so popular. Everyone was so excited that it had come back that it already sold out with the stock that they had. But don't fear, never fear. That's the term, isn't it? Never fear, because it's coming back. They're expecting more stock to be coming. So it just says in the online store, currently unavailable. And if you see it there and it says currently unavailable, then you know that it's coming back. So just keep checking in the online store to see when that is available again. Hey Zana, how you going? 10 past 12 a.m. Oh my goodness, early. It's great to have you with us, Zana. Thank you for joining us all the way from the UK. All right, so let me also tell you about catalogs. We have got 2 catalogs running at the moment. We've got our January to April 2023 mini catalog, and we've also got our big annual catalog. So you'll see this one. This is my working copy, so I've got lots of sticky tabs everywhere to help me find things. And this is our big annual catalog. And so if you would like either of these catalogs, then I'm going to pop a link up for you, and you will find the link in the description of this video. Once I post these videos here on Facebook and on YouTube, I'll add the link there, and you'll be able to click on that to request a catalog. So I'll just pop the link in the comments though, so if anybody is live here today and they want to do that, then they can jump on that link and check that out. So let me find, there we go. I'll just grab that and I'll pop that down in the comments. There we go. All right. So if you have got any questions at all about Stampin' Up, products, about joining my team, because we are always happy to have new team members join our team, and we love to welcome new team members. So if you have any questions about joining my team, then please get in contact with me. I do have a joining link as well that will be in the links I pop up later. If you want to jump on there and read a little bit more about joining, then you can do that. It's only $169 to join, but you get to spend $235. So you get to choose $235 worth of product and put that in your starter kit, but you're only going to pay $169, and you get free shipping on that as well. And then you'll get an ongoing discount of 20 to 25%. So it starts off at 20%, and then you can build it up to 25% over time if you wish to. And yeah, so getting a discount on our crafting products is awesome. It's one of the biggest perks, but we also get to see new product early. So on the 30th of March here in Australia, we actually get to see the brand new annual catalogue that's going to be releasing in May. So we get to see it a whole month and a bit before everybody else. So that's super exciting. And then from the 4th of April, as demonstrators, we get to order some of the products from the new annual catalogue that's going to be coming out in May. So that's one of the many perks of being a demonstrator, is that we get to see new products early, and we get to order new products early, and we have special events and all different sorts of things. It's really, really fun. So if you'd like to know more about that and about my team, then please get in contact with me, and I'd be happy to answer any of your questions. All right, well, we might jump into our project for today. As I said, we're using the Treasured Kindness stamp set. So let me tip the camera down onto the desktop so we can get started. And I'm just going to move my keyboard out of the way first. Pop that over there. There we go. Oh, my desk needs a clean, actually. I should have done that before we went live. All right, so I'm going to cover up the camera so I don't make you dizzy while I just readjust my camera. So bear with me for a moment. Okay, I'm still here, so don't go anywhere. All right, we'll readjust this. Here we go. I'll bring it down a little bit closer to the desk so you can see what we are doing today. Okay, this is being temperamental today. Some days that happens. I think it gets tired of being readjusted all the time. There we go, and we'll adjust our lights as well. So today we're using products from the two different catalogues actually. So I'll show you where you can find them in the catalogues, but of course all of the products are in my online store as well. So if you prefer to shop in the online store, then you'll be able to find them there as well. I mean, if you prefer to browse in the online store rather than in the catalogue. All right, so with the stamp set, the Treasured Kindness stamp set, it is in the big annual catalogue, and you will find it on page 89. Oh, there you go. Well, it does feature on an entire page, so I was incorrect in what I said before. It does have its own feature. So we've got some samples up here that feature some of the products from the opposite page as well. Let me move that over a little bit. But then we've got, well, there's one project here using the Treasured Kindness stamp set, but I'm going to show you a different project today, so which is really beautiful. But you've got all these different pieces. It's a two-step stamp set because you layer the pieces over the top of each other, and I'll show you how to do that as we go. And yeah, to create beautiful trees and scenery. You can even use these as clouds. You can use this is sort of like a sun, but we're going to be using it in two different ways today. Well, actually not using it as a sun today, we're using it as a background today. And then we've got this one, which is our bonsai dish or bowl. But you can use that for lots of different things. You can turn it up the other way and have it as a sunrise. Yeah, all different sorts of things you can do with it. So just use your imagination. This one would be great as a background as well. Just so many different things. So that's where you will find that one. One of the die sets that we are using is the Fabulous Frames, and you'll find that in the annual catalogue as well on page 171. Or you can find it in my online store. If you're looking for any of these products I'm talking about today, you can find them in my online store. If you go to my blog, Mandy's papercraftcreations.blogspot.com, and then click on the shop button, and you'll see the shop button there. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I just realized I hadn't actually clicked on the video on my iPad to see comments there. I was thinking, why aren't I seeing comments? And this is my March 2023 host code. So if you are shopping with me, be sure to use my host code. Every order receives a thank you card from me. And if your order is over $75, you will receive a thank you gift as well. All right, so that's where we're finding that die set. And then we're using another die set as well from the mini catalogue. So this is the January to April mini. And we're going to be using the framed floret dies from the framed floret bundle. So we're just using the dies, we're not using the stamp set, but it does come in a bundle. And you might have seen me, if you follow me, you might have seen me create with this one before. I've used that quite a few times. Love this bundle. It's a beautiful bundle. So I've been playing with that for quite a number of months now, on and off, and it's really beautiful. But yeah, we're going to be using that with the Treasured Kindness today. So there you go. That's where you can find the products. All right, so I'll pop these catalogues over to the side. And let's have a closer look at this stamp set. So here it is, the Treasured Kindness stamp set. As I said, it's a 2-step stamp set. It is a photopolymer stamp set. Now I've taken most of the stamps out already because we're going to be using most of them today. You've got a couple of additional sentiments. But this one's also got some really beautiful sentiments in it. Your kindness is treasured in my heart. You are wonderful in every way. Thank you. Good friends are forever. Thinking of you and always here for you. Just really, really beautiful sentiments. Yeah, just as it says, kindness, just beautiful kindness sentiments. So I just thought that was really lovely. Okay, so the project that we are going to make today. Oh, now before I tell you about that, if you are shopping with me and you receive my tutorial bundles, then my project for April features this stamp set. So that's giving you a little heads up, a little sneak peek, because obviously it hasn't been released yet, and it won't be released until April. But yes, I do feature this one in the tutorial bundle in April. So there's just a little heads up for you. It's not actually this project, it is a different project, but it is using this stamp set. So this is our beautiful project for today. Isn't that just so gorgeous? And I think the colors really aren't being picked up. I'll just see if I can angle my lights in a little bit better. I think the lights really aren't picking up the beautiful colors, but yeah, it's a really, really gorgeous card, and the colors just, yeah, I just love those colors together. So, and we've got a bit of gold today, and we've got some bling, bringing in our gold foil. So I always love to use the gold foil. Don't use it a whole heap, I have to say. I love it. I don't use it enough, probably. I probably need to bring it out a little bit more often. But I love all of the foil cardstocks. They're really beautiful. So yeah, and those of you that have recently purchased my metallics and specialty paper share, thank you so much. This is one card that you can use it on, is some of that gold foil, or you might like to choose one of the other colors that were in the pack, and create a frame with a different color. So alrighty, so that is what we are creating. I'll get all of my stamps out ready. I've got them all mounted up here already on the blocks. They are a clear photopolymer stamp, which makes it easy for us to line them up when we're stamping. Ink colors that we are using today. We've got our trim there. We do need a dauber. Oops, there's another stamp. We do need a dauber as well. For the sentiment. I was just thinking, wait, what did I use the dauber for again? It's for the sentiment. All right, colors we're using today are Pear Pizzazz, Soft Suede, and Mossy Meadow. Okay, so we've just got the 3 colors. So the browns and the greens we're working with today, very earthy colors today, which I love. I love earthy tones. And as I said, we're using we've got the framed florets and the fabulous frames. So we're going to be playing with those as well. And then we're going to be just having some linen trim. And then we're using the gorgeous, now the new embellishments that have come out recently have had all of the information on the back. You might remember we used to have the information here on the front, or the name. Now it's all on the back. So these are the gold faceted adhesive backed sequins. So big mouthful, gold faceted adhesive backed sequins. And there's 80 in the pack. There's some hiding up under there, underneath that little flap. You'll see that when I open the packet when we go to use them. But yeah, really beautiful in the 3 different colors. These are from the mini catalog, and they're from the suite that has the, oh, what are they called? The desert, wait, let me have a look in my catalog. The Delicate Desert suite. That's where they are from. Okay. I also do have some brushed metallic adhesive back dots from the annual catalogue too. I might decide to use these this time to change it up a little bit. We'll see. I really want to use these up because the packet's nearly finished. And I thought maybe the gold ones of these we could use today instead of the sequins, but we'll see. We'll see how we go. Alrighty. So we're going to need our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine today too. So I've got my mini out ready. Just separate these stamps. When you do stack your photopolymer stamps on top of each other, especially when they're solid shapes, they do tend to stick. So you can get them apart, but you've got to pry them a little bit. All right, there we go. All right, so that's our card that we're going to be making. I'm going to pop this card over to the side, out of the way, so I don't get any muck or anything on that. I am going to be using a little bit of grid paper today because we're going to be doing some stamping off. So I've got a few sheets left in my old pad, but I wanted to just show you because the small grid paper is something that I do use quite regularly. And for anyone who might be wondering about it, it comes like this. It's in a pad of 50 sheets. They're very handy. And if you want the code, I'll give you the code. So grab a pen. The code is 149621. That's 149621. And these are really handy. You can use these in your Stamparatus. That's what they're actually originally designed for, was for use in the Stamparatus. But I like to use them just on my desk every time I stamp, pretty much. Lately I've been using some of my larger grid paper. We do have some large grid paper as well that is available. And I have been using up some of that because I've got a stack of it. But I just find these really, really handy. They're just a great size for on your desk. So excuse my grotty desk. I will try to remember to clean that before my next live video. All right. So I've got some pieces here. Now, these measurements will all be over on my blog, okay? So I've got some, I don't have the measurements written down, actually. I didn't write them down as I went this time. I just winged it. But I will write them all down for you. But we've got some gold foil cardstock. We've got some very vanilla. We've got some vellum. We've got some pear pizzazz and some more vanilla. And our card base is soft suede. Okay, so start off with a piece of soft suede. It's half a piece of A4 cardstock and then just scored in and folded in half, and that's our base. Okay, so we're going to start off with our stamping. So we're going to be stamping on this piece. We're going to be stamping on, so we'll pop that one to the side. We'll pop our gold foil to the side. Basically our pear pizzazz. Actually, I'm going to move that one because that's going to glare off the lights. So I'll just pop that away. There we go. And our two pieces of very vanilla. Okay. So actually I can measure. The other good thing with the small grid paper or the large grid paper is that you've got the grid lines on it. So on one side is centimeters, on the other side is inches. So depending on which measurements you are working in, that caters to everybody. So this piece, if I measure this from the corner, this is 9.5 by 10.5 or 10.2-ish. I'll put the accurate measurements on my blog in the measurements. Yeah, I just haven't had a chance to do that yet. 10.7. So 10.7 by 9.5 is this very vanilla. And that's what we're going to stamp our tree on. But we're going to start with our background, actually. I'm going to start with our background. So this one measures 9.6. Is it 9.6? 9.7. This would be 9.7. It should be, and it should be 14.05 by 14. Yeah, by 14.05. So, yeah, 9.7 by 14.05. That's the size of that one. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some pear pizzazz with this one. I'm going to do some tone on tone, but we're going to do a little bit of stamping off as well. So I'm going to move this over to the side. We're going to take out the sun stamp. We're going to create a background with the sun stamp. Let me show you that on the original card. So if you have a look here, I haven't stamped the sun on the actual image here, but I've created a beautiful background using that sun. Isn't that beautiful? Makes such a great background paper. So this again is another way that you can create your own designer series paper. We were talking about that on my live on Monday about creating our own designer series paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all the stamped off images first because I don't want to forget to stamp off. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ink my stamp up, stamp it off onto scrap paper first, and then stamp it onto my card. So that removes some of the ink, and then we can stamp our image. Now I'm going to do all of the inked off ones first, because as I said, I don't want to make a mistake and forget. And you're just basically going to stamp them randomly over your card. Doesn't matter where you stamp them. Oops, didn't stamp that one too well, but that's okay. We are going to be covering up some of these too. So if some of them don't stamp, you know, exactly perfectly, don't worry about it because we're going to be covering them up. Okay, so that's all our stamped off ones, or as we like to call them, second generation. So now we're going to, actually I might put another one over here. I'll fill in that blank space there. Yep. Okay, so now we're going to do our full strength or our first generation. So we're just going to ink up our stamp and we're going to stamp full strength, and you'll see that they are quite a bit darker. So you're just going to stamp them over the top of the other ones, but sort of filling in those gaps where you have stamped the others. And you just get this really cool effect. Let's fill it in. We're not going to be using this portion here because we're going to be covering that up, but we'll stamp that anyway. And there we go. So now we've got our own, you know what, I'm going to put one more down here. Let's ink that back up properly. There we go. Okay, so that's how you can create your own background paper, or as we like to call it, designer series paper. So that's pretty cool and fun to do. All right, so we clean that stamp off now. We will come back to using the Pear Pizzazz in a little bit for the trees, but for now we'll just clean that off. Get my Simply Chamois ready. There we go. Okay. All right, so we'll set that one aside to dry. And while that's drying, we will stamp our tree and our sentiment. I'm going to start with the sentiment first because it's easier to stamp the sentiment. The stamping the tree has a few more steps, so it takes a little bit more time. So we'll do this first. We're going to use the thank you sentiment from the stamp set. I always need thank you cards. So I'm just going to ink that up and I'll stamp that about there. We're going to die cut this, so I'll leave a little bit of a space around it. Okay, and we'll do all of our die cutting at the same time. So I've got to die cut some other pieces as well. Actually, I'll leave this out because I'm going to use that. We're going to die cut some other pieces as well. So I'll just do all the die cutting at the same time. But we'll do the stamping first and then we'll give that a chance to dry. Oh, actually we can't. I do need to die cut next because I need to die cut the oval for the tree. So we need to do the die cutting next. So let's put the ink away. Getting my processes all out of sync. All right, so I'll pop those to the side, put our grid paper to the side, and I'll just bring in my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So what's everybody up to today? Are you working? Are you crafting? Are you crafting along with me this morning? Let me know what you are doing. All right, so we have got our mini machine. This is our little Mighty Mini. It's a great little die cutting machine. It comes with all of the plates that you need to use the machine, and also embossing plates as well. So today we're die cutting, so we are using our base plate number 1, our clear plate number 2, and then we'll have another clear plate number 2 for the top. Now you can see I've used mine quite a lot. My plate is very well used, all cut up. This one's even got a crack in it because I didn't have it lined up properly, and I think I had it off the edge a little bit and I've cracked my plate. That's because I didn't use it properly. User error. But yes, you can buy the replacement plates for this if you need them. All right, let's bring in these dies. So the first one that we're going to die cut is the framed florets. We need to cut our vanilla with the framed florets. And let me find it. Here it is. So we're going to use this one here, this beautiful frame here. Now this one is going to cut our frame, and it's also going to cut our oval for in the center. So we're going to line that up on our piece of cardstock, and we're going to put it at a diagonal. Okay. In fact, I'm just thinking now that I've done that at a diagonal, I don't think that's going to fit on the mini machine. I might need the big machine. I didn't think about that when I prepared that, did I? Okay, that's all right. We'll get out the big machine, because if I put it straight, it would fit through, no problem. But because I'm putting it on an angle, it just makes it a little bit wider now. So that's okay. We'll grab the large machine out and we'll use that one instead. Didn't plan that very well, did I? It's all good. All right. Our large Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine works the same as the mini, only in a larger size. There we go. And this one is much heavier as well, but it works in the same way. So this one has got an additional plate. So this one's got a number 1 base plate. Then it's got a die adapter number 2 plate. So the plates are numbered a little bit differently, but it's all written down for you on the base plate. So you don't need to worry. Oh, hey, Vicky, how you going? All the way from Arizona. Oh, it's so great to have you. 5:35 p.m. Where you are in South Arizona. Oh, wow. It's so great to have you. 63 degrees Fahrenheit with rain today. Oh, there you go. Now, who can tell me what the conversion is to Celsius? So 63 degrees Fahrenheit, what would that be in Celsius? It seems that it's probably quite cool, I would think, because your seasons are opposite to ours. So we are now in autumn. You'd be going into spring. So yes, I will keep watching the comments. If someone can do the conversion or Google it for me, that would be awesome. Okay, so then we've got a number 2 die adapter for our thin dies. So we use that. Mine, as you can see, mine has been used and used and used. And yes, you can buy the replacements for these 2 if you need them. But I just flip mine over upside down. And then our clear plates for this one are labeled as number 3. So I'll put that one in there, and I've got an extra one there too. All right, back to our die cutting. So we're popping our beautiful frame there down on a diagonal on our very vanilla cardstock. Make sure that's within the edges of your plates there. And then we're going to pop that one in on top, and I'll take that one through the machine. There we go. Sorry, this one bumps the desk a little bit because yeah, I've just got a bit more movement and I've got to put a bit more oomph into this one. There we go. So now we've got our frame, we've got our oval, which we're going to stamp our tree on. And we've got this piece here. Now this piece, hang on, let me just move my machine away for a sec. And I'll get my take your pick tool because we're just going to poke this one out of the die frame. So in the back of your die, you have all these little holes. Some of them are for poking out your piece and some of them are for poking out the added little pieces of cardstock that your die cuts out. Now I'm just going to pop these ones out. We do have a die brush attachment as well for the Take Your Pick tool. And that comes with foam mats. And you can run that on the back of your die to remove all of those little pieces. Because if I turn that over, you'll see all of those little pieces are stuck in the die. But I'll get my die brush onto that and roll that from the back. And that'll pop all of those out. So I won't sit there, and you don't need to sit there and watch me poke them all out with the Take Your Pick tool. We'll be there for too long. Oh, Vicky says it's 63 degrees Fahrenheit is equal to 17.22 Celsius. Oh, that's a lovely day, lovely spring day. And it's 5:35 p.m. Oh, so it's going to warm up. So you'll have a beautiful day today, Vicky. It's very nice, very nice. We have got in the high 30s today, so that's Celsius. We're going to be having a very, very warm one today. All right, so that's our oval frame. That's the one we're going to stamp on. But while we're here, let's do all our other die cutting. So I'll just clear that extra, those extra little bits of cardstock that got caught on my tray there. On my plate, I should say. Scrape them off with my ruler and tip them in the paper recycling. All right. And then next we are going to die cut our gold foil cardstock. So where did that go? There it is here. It's our piece of gold foil. We'll die cut that one. And we probably can do our label at the same time, actually. So for the gold foil oval, we're going to use this one that's got the embossed lines or the embossed detail around the edges. We're going to use that one. And let's see if we can get the... Sorry, I've got dies going everywhere here. All right, there it is. There it is, there it is. All right, and from the Fabulous Frames dies, we're just going to use the little label die, this one here. It's like a little book plate label, which I really love. I love the shape of this one. We're going to use that one for our sentiment. So I'll just pop the others back in the packet so they don't all get mixed up. But we've got some really beautiful, I'll just show you these actually. I used these on the other card that I made that's going to be in my tutorial. But these are really beautiful frames. This one is gorgeous. I love this one. Very antique looking, these ones. So if you love doing vintage style cards, these are great for that. But then you can also pretty them up if you like to do more sort of modern cards. Yeah, they're a really beautiful die set, and you get the little book plate label as well that comes with them. So we're going to use that one too. So they are the Fabulous Frames dies from the mini catalogue. All right, so we're going to put that one in there, and then let's do our sentiment label. Now I'll just chop some of this cardstock off because we don't need all of that. I'll just snip that. I just had some extra there in case I did any dodgy stamping, because, you know, it happens. And I'll grab my, where's my washi tape gone? Grab my washi just to line up my sentiment and hold that down in place. Here we go. I like to dab my washi tape off on my shirt before I use it, just so that it's not too sticky to tear my cardstock when I try and remove it off it, when I try to remove it. All right, so we'll adhere that end and that end. And the other thing is too, if you've got plates like mine that have been very well loved, and oh look, there's my washi tape sitting right there. It was there all along. Yes, if you've got plates that are a little bit warped like mine, then do use some washi tape to hold your dies down, because my plates are warped. It causes everything just to yeah, buckle up a little bit. So, and that is because I have used them over and over, and it's nearly time for new plates again. All right, so we'll pop those both through together. Now this one, because it's got straight edges, we have to make sure that that goes through at an angle. Just makes it easier to feed through the machine, and you don't get that big speed bump as it goes through. You get a little bit of a speed bump, but not as much. There we go. And we have, so when you die cut this one, you do get the inner oval. Okay, so you can save that for another project, and then you get the frame. So we'll take that washi off. I'll use my take your pick tool, and we'll poke that out, and there's the beautiful frame. Isn't that gorgeous? So pretty. All right, I think that's it for the die cutting. So we'll move the machine again. And there's our label, so we'll just take that away. All right, so just be sure to put my die back, because this is only a small die. You don't want to lose this one. If you have any cardstock caught in those little holes, if you've got any of those little holes or the little detailed parts in your dies, do make sure that you clean the cardstock out of those. Because if you keep cutting with your dies and you get more and more cardstock caught up in them, it can actually stop it from cutting properly, because it builds up layers of cardstock in there, and it sort of gets in the way of the actual cutting line. So be sure that you do clean out those extra little bits of cardstock from your dies. Just going to pop that one back in there. There we go. All right, and there's our beautiful little sentiment. We've got a little bit of cardstock in there, so I'll poke that one out. And all the cicadas have just started. That means it's going to be a hot day. Hot, hot, hot. I think it's a good day to stay inside in the air conditioning today. So I'll pop my die back on my die sheet. So I've got all of those ones there. Pop them back in the packet so they all stay together. And all those extra little pieces that die cut with your frames, or we're using that one today, but I've got this piece. I like to keep all of these, because then I pull them out to use them on other projects. So I've got a whole collection here of all these different ovals and frames, and even the little hearts from those dies as well. There's one that does hearts. So I keep those because I use them for other projects. All right, so these are our pieces. So we've got these two pieces, okay. And so if we separate those, then we've got this one, and then we've got our sentiment label. Okay, so they're the pieces. These ones we're going to pop to the side for the moment, and we're going to do a bit of work with these two. So I'm going to bring in my soft suede ink and my sponge dauber, and as I often like to do, I'm going to dauber around the edges of my sentiment label. Oh, this dauber is very inky. Just go a little bit lighter. That just distresses the edges of your sentiment label, or in this case, our little book label. There we go. Just gives it a little bit of an oomph. Okay. I'll pop that up there out of the way. All right, that one's done. So we'll put that one aside now to dry with our other pieces. And now we're going to do our stamping. Now I'm going to use the same piece of grid paper, but I'll turn it over, because it's a little bit icky on the other side. And here is where we're going to use the 3 colors. All right, so we're going to create this little scene here with the bonsai tree, which is really beautiful. And I was going to tell you about the bonsai trees. So I used to, at our old house, my husband built me a shade house because I really loved bonsai, but it was too hot. Out where we live, it gets very, very hot in the summer. And it was too hot to have the bonsai just out in the sun, and I had really nowhere to put them. It's not a good idea to keep them in the house either, because they are miniature trees. So trees live outside, but because they're miniature, they dry out a lot. The pots are very shallow. So yeah, so it's not a good idea to keep them inside. You can bring them in for a little bit, but it's good to put them back outside again as well. But it's not good to have them in direct sunlight. So he built me this beautiful big shade house. He built shelves in there, and I had some bonsai. Over time, I got busy with the children, with the family. The poor bonsai didn't get as much tender loving care as they needed. But I learned how to shape them and all sorts of things. So I used to wire them up and shape them, and absolutely loved it. I miss them actually. They're beautiful trees. But yes, sadly over time they were neglected, and of course they didn't survive. And then we moved here, and I don't have a shade house anymore. We have a huge big veggie garden, but and we have other gardens, but I don't have bonsai. Maybe one day I would get another one. But yeah, they do take a little bit of care. So there you go. So that's a bit about bonsai. My favorite one, I had a juniper, and I had a maple. Oh, the maple tree was gorgeous. It was miniature, like, because obviously bonsai are miniature trees, and it had these tiny little beautiful maple leaves, and the leaves would fall off in the appropriate seasons, and it was just so pretty. It had the beautiful rich colors of the maple leaves, and they used to change color. It was really, really pretty. But yeah, anyway, and I had, what else did I have? I can't remember the other ones I had now. I did have a type of cactus in a bonsai dish. It went crazy. It sort of didn't stay as a bonsai. It got very big. Can't think of the other ones that I had. Anyway, we're going to use our Mossy Meadow ink first, and we're going to use our dish, which is this one here, or you can turn it up the other way and use it as a sunrise, but we're going to use it as a bonsai dish. So that's the one we're starting with. If you have used this stamp set before and you have found other uses for some of these stamps in here, let me know. I would love to know. These ones I think could be used as, they'd be great as clouds, the solid parts of the tree. They'd be great for clouds. The sun, as I said, we can use it as a background, which we've just done. Could also be great as a water puddle, because, you know, if you drop a stone or a pebble in the water and then the circles, you know, expand out, that could be used as that. Yeah, I don't know. Have you got any other great ideas? Let me know in the comments if you do. I'd love to hear them. All right, so we're going to start with our dish, and we're doing it in Mossy Meadow. And this die, I don't know if you can see on camera, but this die actually gives you a couple of embossed lines around the edges. Can you see those there? So we're going to stamp the dish just inside those embossed lines. Okay, we want to be able to see it once we put the frame on top. So we want it to sit up a little bit higher. So I'm going to try and line up. I'm going to use my grid paper here to try and line up my oval so that it's straight. Just going to move it down a little bit away from all that messy ink up there, which is actually from the other side. So I'm going to try and line this up so that I've got my oval the right way. Actually, if you're unsure, here's a tip. If you're unsure, because you know with an oval, especially quite a rounded oval like this one, it's quite easy to get it at the wrong angle. If you want to work out exactly the right angle, get that outer part that we die cut, that frame, and you can line that up, line up the frame, the outer frame, on your grid paper. Make sure that your oval is sitting properly in it though. Hang on a minute, I've got to get it sitting in. Sit in there. It's not wanting to sit because this one's buckling up. There we go. All right, and then we can line this one up with line up the outer one with the grid paper. There we go. And then we know now, so I've used those points there to line that up. And then now we know that that should be straight, if I've done that correctly. Let's just double check. Let's just double check. Oh, it just slid again. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, so now let's just re-ink that just to be sure. And I'll stamp that just down, just inside those lines there. There we go, just inside those embossed lines. We'll give that a clean. All right, so put the mossy meadow away. The next step is to stamp the tree. So we're using our soft suede for the tree. Now we're going to use the detailed part of the tree first, which is this stamp here. Okay, so the trunk and the branches. We do that one first. And I don't know if that moved now, but it looks okay. And then we're just going to line that up with the, in the center there, sitting on the grass or the pot at the bottom. Okay. So give that one a clean. Then we're going to take, oh, got a bit of excess ink on that one. Then we're going to take this part, which is the, what I like to call the colour fill, or the solid part of the trunk. And this time we're going to stamp it off because we don't want it too dark. So we're going to ink it up. We're going to stamp off like we did with the, oh, didn't do that very well. And I got excess ink on my block. I rocked my block. You should never rock your block. All right, so tap, tap, tap. There we go. And then stamp that off on your paper like we did the first time. Oh, I didn't do that right either. Let's do that again. There we go. That's better. Okay, stamp that off on the paper and then line that up with the tree trunk. Okay, so get that lined up nicely and just stamp that over the top of your tree trunk. And that just gives you a bit of fill in of the colour there, or as I like to say, colour fill, so that your tree trunk has detail, but it's also got the colour. Now these extra little bits here, they are the little branches to stamp your leaves. All right, so there's two parts to the leaves. You have the solid part, I'll show you on the stamp set. You've got the solid part and then you've got the detail, the same as with the tree trunk. So I like to, with the branches, I like to start with the solid part first and then stamp the tree trunk over the top. Then stamp the leaves over the top. So we're going to use Pear Pizzazz for that. Okay, has anybody else got this stamp set? Let me know in the comments. Have you had a play with this one? All right, so here's our Pear Pizzazz. Now with this solid colour, we're going to stamp off again. All right, so ink it up. Stamp off on your paper. And then we're going to line up the bottom of each of those leaf clusters with this bit here, this branch here, this one, and this one. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. There are lining up points. And you'll see when you pop this down how that's going to line up. Okay, and then you just stamp that down. Oops, there we go. See how they sit beautifully there on those branches. So clever, whoever designed this stamp. Really clever. And then with our detail, this was going to be stamped full strength, and we're stamping it straight over the top of that solid shape there of the leaves. So I'm just going to get my head in there to line that up. There we go. And then you get that beautiful detail. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And it looks distinctive. You've got all those different opacities. It's actually not a distinctive stamp set, but because it's a two-step stamp set and you lay the different pieces over the top, it gives you that illusion of being distinctive. Isn't that really cool? So there we go. So that's how you stamp that stamp set. I'll give that one a clean. Alrighty, and we'll put away our ink. We've finished with all of our ink now. And we'll put away our messy grid paper. So there we go. So there we've got our beautiful tree, our beautiful bonsai, and we've got our background paper we already created. We've got our frames, we've got our sentiment. So we are ready to layer everything up now. All right. Here's the rest of our pieces. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to adhere our background piece that we created to our piece of Very Vanilla. Now the piece of Very Vanilla, from memory, I think was it 2mm border? It's 9.9 centimeters by 14.25. Yeah, it's a 3mm border. So this one is 9.9 by 14.25, and then this one was 9.7 by 14.05. So this is a piece of Pear Pizzazz, and this one's Very Vanilla. But don't worry if you miss the measurements, because they will all be over on my blog tomorrow. I'll pop them up on my blog, and you'll be able to see them over there. I might even get them up there today. Oh, actually, I don't know that I won't commit to that because I've got a lot of other things on my plate today. So maybe not today. Hopefully by tomorrow. All right, so just line that up. Once you're happy with that, you can then just press that down. Now we're going to also add some vellum. But those of you who are familiar with vellum know that vellum is opaque, so you have to be careful where you apply your adhesive. I like to use a dry adhesive on my vellum because I find that the wet adhesive tends to buckle it a little bit. So I'm going to use some Stampin' Seal, or you can use tear and tape. And we want to place the vellum, so we're going to pop that down with a few centimeters border at the edge. And we want to place that where our frame is going to cover that up, because this will be in the center. So we basically want to put our adhesive behind that section there, behind that frame. Okay, so it's going to go about there. You can even put a little pencil mark if you wish to, so that you know where, oh actually I better line that up properly. Line this up properly so I know where that's going to go. Up a bit higher. Just make sure I've got room there for my sentiment label. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to put a little pencil mark just inside there and there. And then I know that in that section between those 2 points is where I can put my adhesive. Okay, so I'll see which way my vellum is sitting. Sometimes you'll find that your vellum will want to curl up one way or the other. And if you're adhering it down, I'd adhere it where it's curling over. Put the adhesive on the curling over side so that when it sits down, it sits flat rather than wanting to kick up. Does that make sense? That sounds probably quite confusing, but it'll make sense when you see me do it. All right, so we'll apply, get that adhesive running. We'll apply some adhesive in that section there. There we go. And before I do that, I just want to double check something, because I just have to get the sticky off my fingers first. There we go. I'm just going to double check that where I laid that is going to be covered. Yep, that's all good. Okay, so then we'll pop our adhesive down just a few centimeters. I mean, we want it offset to the left, but we want to leave a few centimeters at the side there. So we've got, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's not perfect, but there we go. All right, so you can see the adhesive there through there at the moment, but we are going to cover that up. So I've left a little bit of a border. What have we got there? It's about 1.3 centimeters in from the left hand edge, if roundabout, thereabouts. It doesn't have to be, you know, exactly. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this part of the, oh no, I'm not doing that yet. I'm attaching the twine. That's what I want to do next, is the twine. And then we'll adhere that to the base, and then we'll add everything on top. Getting ahead of myself. I tend to do that sometimes. Too busy talking. I used to always get in trouble at school for talking, funnily enough. None of you are probably shocked about that at all. Yes, I was a bit of a talker. Not much has changed. Well, some things have changed. I think I have, I think I've definitely changed since school days. All right, so we're going to wrap this around a couple of times. So we'll go around twice. And then we're going to tie a knot on that side. So I'm just estimating how much I'm going to need. And then we're going to chop it, not with those scissors because those ones are my blunt ones. Let's get the sharper ones. There we go. So this is just linen thread that I'm using. I love using the linen thread. It's a really great twine to use, and especially if you're unsure, I mean, it goes great with all of these natural, neutral, earthy tones. But if ever you're creating a card and you're not sure what to use, maybe you don't have the right color ribbon, or you're not sure what type of ribbon to use, baker's twine or linen thread, they're my go-to, because they pretty much will go with just about everything. And the baker's twine, if you haven't seen the baker's twine before, it comes in, it's called the Baker's Twine Essential Pack, and it has 5 different colors. So you've got your basic white, very vanilla, basic black, basic gray. Is that the 5? White, basic black, basic gray, very vanilla, and crumb cake. I think crumb cake is the other one. Yeah. So there we go. So there we've got our twine. I just like to separate the ends. So untwist the ends of your twine, and I just like to flick them around a little bit with my fingers just to fluff them up a little bit so that they're not blunt ends. You can leave them blunt if you like that look. I always just like to do this. Just adds a little bit of extra texture, I feel. There we go. All right. So I'm going to get that one to sit right. There we go. That's better. Okay. So now that we've done that, this piece is ready to go. 5 out of 5. I got them right, Brenton? Oh, awesome. Thank you. So Brenton says he's been contemplating this stamp set, and he said now he'll probably get it. Oh, awesome. Fantastic. All right, now before we do all our decorative pieces on top, we're going to adhere this to our card base. You'll notice that with the twine, I have twisted it, not twisted it, but like crisscrossed it over itself. I like to do that just to give a little bit more interest. And my knot is sort of over that way. If you want to check with your sentiment label where that's going to be positioned, and just make sure that you've got your twine in the right spot. Okay, and then you can even check where your frame's going to go. So just make sure you've got everything positioned correctly before you adhere this piece to your base. Okay, but I'm pretty happy with all of that. So I'm ready to adhere that to my base. Now, because I've got twine on here, I find tear and tape a lot easier to adhere my my layers to my base, because I can run my twine over. Let me start again. I can run my tear and tape. I just used the wrong scissors. These are my tape ones. Sorry, I can run my tear and tape over the top of that twine, so either baker's twine or the linen thread, because it's a little bit more bulky, and the tear and tape just helps to hold that in place so it's not going to slip around on your card once you've got your piece stuck down. And also too, I find that some people still do use the liquid adhesive, the multi-purpose liquid glue. I just find that the edges where your twine is, the edges of that cardstock just don't stick down to your card base as well with the multi-purpose liquid glue if you've got that twine there, because it's a little bit sort of bumpy. So that's why I like to use the tear and tape. Now the only thing is with your tear and tape, first of all, make sure your card is opening in the correct orientation. The only thing with your tear and tape is it's very sticky. So once you stick things down, you need to really be sure that that's where you want it. I mean, we do have our take your pick tool with all its handy dandy tools that we have a little spatula there if you need to remove it, but it is quite a strong adhesive and it's not that easy to remove. So just be sure that where you are sticking is where you want it. All right, so I've just adhered that top section first, and now that I'm happy with the alignment, I can remove the other bits of tape. So I kind of do this side first. This is just my little, if you've watched me lots of times, you've seen me do this. So I just do that right hand side first, make sure that that's all honky-dory, and then I do the other two sides. And that way too, you don't get any buckling, especially if you're putting designer series paper, and see how I'm pushing it down sort of at an angle now. Yeah, sometimes with designer series paper that's thinner, if you took all of that off and then you tried to put it down, it starts to buckle and muck around. My system that I do with the top first, then the right side, and then the other two sides, just sort of stops that from buckling and keeps everything nice and flat and where it should be. Okay, so that is the basis of our card. Now we can attach our frame. So I'll bring in my multi-purpose liquid glue at this point. So I'm doing the outer frame, the outer decorative frame first, and I'm just going to put a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue, or you could use the fine tip glue pen for this as well. You can use the glue sponging technique if you know how to do that. You've probably seen me do that before. Why is my glue not running? Oh dear, there we go. If you've seen me do that before with a sponge and using your silicone craft sheet and just sponging the glue on the back, you can do that too. But I'm doing it this way today because I'm being lazy and I'm trying to do it quick. Oops, there we go. Okay, and just run it over here. You don't want to be too heavy-handed with this glue at this point because we don't want this sort of oozing everywhere. There we go. All right, and we're just going to line this one up there towards the top, just down a little bit from the top, and then just watch your sides to make sure that you've got that lined up. Watch those 2 points there to make sure that they are even from the edges, evenly spaced from the edges. There we go. Okay, and we just adhere that one down. There we go. So you might get a little bit sticky at that point. It's good to always have your baby wipes nearby. I always have baby wipes handy when I'm crafting. So yeah. All right. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to attach our frame to so we want to attach our gold frame to the front of our stamped piece. Okay, so we're going to attach it like that to give that a bit of framing. So in order to do that, if you turn that over, you'll notice that the frame is a little bit wider than the oval itself. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to run a little bead of glue around the inside edge of this frame. Actually, probably shouldn't do it over the top of our project in case we drop any extra glue, but just run a fine bead of glue around, whoops, that inner part. Don't go all the way to the edges because our stamped piece is actually a bit bigger. Now you might want to bring in your grid paper at this point. Oh no, it should be fine because we've got the glue. Got the glue on the inner edge, so it should be okay. All right, and then we just line that up with our stamped image. And then before you press too hard, sort of tap that on. Tap it or tack it on. You can turn that over and then you can see how you can line that up at the back. Okay, just slide that over until it's evenly spaced. And then flip it back over, and that's gorgeous. So then once you're happy, press it on. Oh no, I got a little bit of glue on the front. That's one thing I was going to say is be careful about getting glue on your foil cardstock because it does show. And I did just get a little bit smudged on there, which is annoying. I had some on my fingers. Where's my baby wipes? I'll get my wipes out. Got my little packet today because my big packet that I normally use is just about empty. I had to get my husband to get some more from the shopping last night, but I haven't unpacked the shopping yet. Well, the stuff that needed to go in the fridge went in the fridge, but the other bits and pieces are still sitting in the bags. All right, so I wonder, let's try this. I don't know if this will work with my damp fingers, if I can get that glue back off there. If that will work. Let's get a tissue. I haven't tried that before. Oh, did I get that off? Yeah, it's not as obvious now. Oh, cool. That worked. Good to know. I wouldn't probably take the wet wipe straight to that foil cardstock, but I just had wet fingers and I rubbed that on that glue and then buffed it off with a tissue. And yeah, most of it came off, so it's not as obvious now. So that's good. Good to know. There you go. Another little tip for you today that I just discovered. All right, now this piece is going to go up onto some dimensionals. So, whoops, well, we need it upside down, so that's all good. I'll just grab my dimensionals. They're buried over here under all my other adhesives. There we go. Okay, so we're just going to pop some dimensionals. Make sure this piece is nice and stable because, of course, this is our focal point of the card. So we want to make sure that it's nice and supported. There we go. Take the backing paper off that. And then we're going to pop that up in the center there. Make sure we get that lined up. Is that lined up on the edges? It's not too bad. So it is over that way a little bit actually. So before that sticks too tightly, just reposition that over a little bit towards the other side, to the right side. There we go. And we'll pop that on. Isn't that beautiful? I love that tree. I love that bonsai. It's so gorgeous. I wondered what type of bonsai it is. It looks to me maybe, oh, I don't know. I was going to say juniper, but maybe not a juniper. The juniper, no, it wouldn't be a juniper, I don't think. The juniper, well, the junipers that I've seen and the juniper that I had was sort of, oh, it looks very elegant. Thanks, Vicky. Yeah, that was sort of longer and sort of more on, yeah, they sort of sat more on top of the tree, on top of the branches. Anyway, yeah. So I don't think it's a juniper. I'm not sure what it is. So I have got, do you all save your little edges, your little edge pieces from your dimensionals? So I've got a sheet where I put all of my little offcuts of dimensionals, and for projects like this it comes in really handy because I'm going to be placing this sentiment label over my twine, but I want it to sit sort of over the edges of that twine, so I don't want to be putting dimensionals right on top of that twine because then my sentiment label won't sit properly. So here is where you can use some of these little edge pieces to pop along the edge there of your sentiment label. So we'll do some on the top and some on the bottom. And then that way we can straddle that twine. We want some little fine pieces. We've got some along the edges here. We'll grab some of those ones. And it might look messy on the back, but nobody's going to see that part because it's going to be at the back. There we go. So see, we've got that gap down the middle now where the twine can run, but we can still have our sentiment popped up. So we'll just remove all those paper backings. Oops. So hopefully you are using your little edge pieces, or saving them at least for projects such as this. There we go. Pop our little thank you up the right way. That would be very helpful. And that's going to sit about there. Beautiful. Perfect. So that just straddles that twine beautifully. So that twine now isn't in the way of where our sentiment is. All right. So time for some bling now. So we have got, as I said, I used these ones on the original card. So this is the gold faceted adhesive backed sequins. And you've got all of these ones in here. So you've got little moon shapes. You've got small regular sequins and large regular sequins. Then you've got like these teardrops as well. So they look really beautiful on the original card. So they went really well on there. But I was wanting to use up these gold ones. So I thought we might use those ones today. So we'll see how they look. So let's put these ones over to the side. And I'll just have a go with these ones and see how these are going to look. Because this is kind of a bit sort of antique-ish. And it's not heavily distressed, so it's not really antique-y. But more sort of, you know, natural tones happening and things like that. I thought, well, these might go really well. So let's just pop some of these on and see. I'll just put them on lightly. I won't press them on really tight in case we change our mind. But, whoops, I do need to stick. Actually, has that one got the sticky? Oh yeah, it has got the sticky on it. It's all right. It's just I haven't pressed it on. It keeps sliding around. Oh, I like that. I like that. And then we'll pop this one and this one over here. And then we'll have to use one of the large ones up the top here. Oh yeah, I like that. Yep, doing that. Okay, let's press them on now. I'm happy with that. Very happy. I love those. These will probably be retiring soon though with the annual catalogue, I would say. However, if they do happen to carry over, I will be getting more of these because I love these brushed metallic adhesive back dots. As you can see, I've used them quite a bit. That's all I've got left. There we go. So there's our finished project. What do you think? Do you like that? Let's bring in our original one that had the sequins and we'll compare the pair. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer the sequins? Or do you prefer the brushed metallic dots? Which one do you like? Oh, thank you, Brenton. Brenton said that my card is gorgeous. He loves it. Sorry, I've got everything all wonky badonkus over here, haven't I? Like, I don't have everything very straight today and lined up. I usually like to have everything nice and straight and lined up. No OCD over here at all. No. So there you go. So there's my cards using the Treasured Kindness stamp set, which is so beautiful. And as I said, you can find other ways of using these stamps as well. So you don't have to just create the bonsai tree. We used the sun here as a background. As I said, we can use it as water. The dish can be used as a sunrise. The leaves of the tree can be used as clouds. I would love to see other ways of how you use these. So if you do create any cards with this, feel free to come back and pop them in the comments. I'd love to see any cards that you do create with this. And if you pop them in the comments, then others will be able to see them too. So that would be awesome. I'd love for you to do that. That would be really cool. All right, well, I'm going to flip the camera back up now. So bear with me for one moment. I'll just cover it up before I do the flippy flip, so I don't make you all motion sick, because it is a little bit of adjusting here. There we go. All right, tighten all that. And we'll do a flip and a flip. There we go. Let me just adjust these lights. I keep on saying I'm going to get an extra set of lights, but I still haven't done it. It means making a trip to IKEA. I don't actually know if IKEA still sells these ones, actually. But yeah, I need ones that clip onto the side of my desk because I have shelving. So I have my desk, and then over the desk I have shelving. So I have very little space in front of me. I only really have space for my stand that holds my phone, which is my camera. And then, yeah, there's little else space, because then I've got all of my storage. So I've got all my punches there and all my ink pads and all my coloring tools and everything right within reach. So yes, so I need lights that clip onto the side of my desk. So, oh, hi Rose, how you going? Late again? That's okay. Catch it on the replay. We just made this beautiful card, Rose, using the Treasured Kindness stamp set. We created this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful card. And as I was saying, created some of our own designer series paper again, using the sun stamp in the background to create that beautiful patterned paper. Well, cardstock actually, patterned cardstock. So there you go. Just trying to use our stamps in different ways. So thank you so much for those of you who joined me today. Thank you for everyone who watches the replay later on. Feel free to leave me comments and I will reply to those. And I really, really appreciate your support. So thank you so much. Well, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. We are coming up, today is Thursday, but we are coming up on the weekend very soon. So I hope you have a fantastic weekend. And I look forward to seeing you all again next week. So happy crafting, everyone, and stay safe. Bye-bye.